Our mom's dementia didn't start the way most people expect. It wasn't memory loss, it was actually vision problems, but not problems with her eyes because we took her to multiple eye doctors. We have a whole video about that journey. One thing, though, that came up early in our research was something called Balint Syndrome. And the moment we read about this and watched videos on it, we had an aha moment. This was what we were seeing with our mom. And so there are three symptoms of Balint syndrome, and Balint syndrome is often a part of posterior cortical atrophy, or PCA, which is a form of dementia that we have found through our research that our mother has. So I'm going to share what the three symptoms of Balint syndrome are, what they've looked like in our mom's life, and maybe if this resonates with you, it might be a missing piece for your family too. So, Balint syndrome is a rare neurological condition that affects how the brain is processing what the eyes see. So, for our mom, like I said, her eye doctors were saying the eyes are fine, and they were right. The problem wasn't her eyes, it was how her brain was interpreting what her eyes saw. So, it was really hard to diagnose and figure out. And there are three symptoms that are part of Balint syndrome. I'm going to walk you through each one and give you an example. So, simultagnosia is symptom number one. This is where the brain can only process one part of a scene or one object or one person at a time, even if there's a whole scene happening in front of them. And there are a few classic tests for this. One is the cookie theft picture. And when you look at this picture, there's a lot happening on the scene. There's kids reaching for the cookies and they're going to fall off the stool. And there's a woman who seems distracted washing dishes and the water's puddling all over the floor. Someone with simultagnosia would look at this though and only see the stool or just see a woman or the water. They would not see the whole scene, just a piece of it. Another test that's used is called Ishihara color plates. They show a field of dots where a number's hidden in a different color. And someone with simultagnosia can see the dots, but they can't see the number that they form. And a third test that's often used is where they use one letter repeated many times to make a larger letter. Say a whole bunch of U's arranged to make an A. Someone without simultagnosia can see the A right away, but someone with simultagnosia only sees the U's. In our mom's life, this has showed up in lots of ways. I remember one time we were at an event, an entertainment event at her retirement home, and there were dozens of residents there. There was someone performing who was dressed up as Elvis and he was entertaining us. There was a couple of people dancing, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden my mom just went, "Oh, there's a person there." And so this whole thing was happening, dozens of people, and she just noticed one person sitting nearby. The rest of the room just didn't process for her. So it's kind of hard to understand at first, like why they're not understanding what is going on, or, when you enter a room, they just can't take it in. So it's really disorienting for them when there's noises and lots of things happening because they're not seeing the whole thing. They're seeing each individual thing and they can't take it all in. Um, the second symptom is ocular apraxia. This is where someone cannot intentionally move their gaze to follow something or to target something on purpose. Sometimes they'll have like movements of their eyes that aren't purposeful. For our mom, there's been this is a really common one. I remember a few years ago, as an example, my sister and I got roller skates and we were roller skating. We asked our mom to film us. And she couldn't actually like get us in the screen with the camera or follow us. So she was cutting off parts of us, like our heads were cut off. And then as we moved by, she couldn't follow us with the camera. She just couldn't track our movement. And, we'll try like, look over there, mom. You can't point like at the TV for our mom to look at. We actually will take her head and gently shift it so that her eyes are pointing in that direction. And there's more of a chance that she will see what we're trying to get her to see then. It's not that she's not trying to look, her brain just can't make it happen. And then the third symptom is optic ataxia. And this is where your brain isn't able to perceive where an object is in space or like to coordinate hand movements with that. So it's about the movement of the hand to like reach out for something. So with our mom, she's knocking over drinks because she doesn't know where they are and she's kind of swinging her hand to find it. She'll reach for food and miss the bowl entirely and be like reaching all over but not get her hand inside the bowl. Recently at our long-term care home, they have an interactive projection table where if you tap the puzzle pieces, they snap into place. And, she's reaching for a puzzle piece over and over, but
Yeah,
she
get
is
him. Get it.
repeatedly missing
Focus.
it.
Gotta
So
put it.
this can look really clumsy, but it's not about like motor skills. It's just this visual spatial processing. One of the things that we'll do, even for food, it's easier for her to eat with her hands because when she's got a fork, she can't gauge the distance of fork to mouth, whereas with her hands, it's easier. Or sometimes we'll once we get something in her hand or to her mouth, she can then use her hands properly, but to find it in space is really hard. So those three symptoms all make up Balint syndrome. I want to mention if you're seeing any of these symptoms or any symptoms that seem odd to you, make sure you're using our dementia tracker. You can download it at disruptdementia.com. But watch for symptoms like these. These are not eyesight problems. These are parietal lobe problems. It's where that brain connects visual input with spatial understanding and movement. And the eyes are often perfectly healthy. So Balint syndrome can go completely missed or misdiagnosed for years. We would love if more optometrists were trained to recognize these signs and maybe refer patients or, suggest to look into that. But, unfortunately, a lot of time is spent going to eye doctors. Um, so this batch of symptoms, this group of symptoms, Balint syndrome, really are debilitating for someone with dementia. So for our mom, like she could like talk through things, she could hear things properly, but she just couldn't make sense of things she saw, which meant she really couldn't function for daily activities of living. So I hope this helps. Let us know what kind of things you've noticed or if this has been a symptom for you. The more we share, the more we can support each other.